You were holding a new baby, and it was at the field day for the kids, and we just quick said hi, and that was it. And then we were on our way and met up again
years later to fight a battle for our kids.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that I have you at my side.
No kidding. And I do think if we would have, from the start, had parents come together, we could have come up with a workable compromise. I absolutely believe that. It snowballed and was out of control because so many activists didn't bother to ask us first. They just wanted complete control over the situation.
Well, we got an email out of the blue one afternoon from the principal at the school saying that a gender-confused student was going to need some inclusivity in the lower school, and that they were going to read a book called My Princess Boy. We were just told this will be happening in just a few days. It's an incredibly controversial subject. Mm-hmm. We were given no time. We were just told this is what's going to happen.
Well, I think we were really used to being asked first what we thought about all kinds of things to do with the curriculum. So it felt like a gut punch.
This is a battle for our children's innocence, and at some point I realized that the environment just wasn't going to allow for that, and I was going to have to take my kids out. But all the same, it was, it's a battle that I think is worth fighting, and I'll continue with it for other people's children.
There were full-fledged activists that were at every board meeting, every meeting that we had, and their voice just overshadowed the parents' voice. And so any type of reasonable compromise that the parents would come up with or suggest or anything was just shouted down with, being told that was hate speech or that we were bigoted, when really we just wanted some safety and privacy measures for our kids.
It's become very political. It feels like a movement from the outside in instead of something that naturally came up.
There was
from the
nothing
inside.
Organic about how it arrived or how it played out. Well, I think the first thing that you need to understand or realize is that you are not alone. I can guarantee that you are not one of the only people feeling that way when you're just really hoping for some safeguards for your own child. So I would say start talking to people. Number one, start talking to people. We formed a Google group, which was invaluable, and that was invaluable for prayer. It was invaluable for just keeping everybody informed. And
it was also how we organized.
Yes.
And planned, different activities. We made sure to use that group for everything. It was our starting point to do anything.
The school had offered to host an educational event on what gender identity meant. And from our point of view, it didn't cut the mustard at all. So we were feeling like it was one-sided.
Yes, they brought in a psychologist who's a proponent of gender confusion and bringing it to children as young as kindergarten. They brought him in to do a training with the staff so that they could also encourage it in various ways within the classroom. And this was their answer to having a discussion. And
Right.
we realized right away our voices weren't heard whatsoever. And that if we didn't do something of our own, we wouldn't be heard. So we thought to have our voices heard, we would bring in our own speaker. And we knew that if the school allowed their space to be used by anyone outside of the school, that we had access to it as well. So we ran a little fundraiser, we got the funds together, and we rented the gym at the school and brought in our own speaker from our state's family council. And it was great.
It was great. That was an event that was, I call it the labor of love, because it was a labor of love. We wanted to make sure that not only the people that supported our view, but the people that were questioning and wondering and had never heard any other side of it, knew that there was another side to gender identity. So when we brought the speaker in, we had a pretty full house that night.
We had probably half of the room filled with activists and half of the room filled with parents who really wanted to hear the message. But what was beautiful was that everyone heard the message. And getting the truth out, I think, is the most important part of any efforts parents undertake. We made sure to contact various Christian legal groups, either locally or nationally, and asked for their advice. We also had a lawyer come and give a presentation to parents just to reaffirm for them what their rights were as parents, what their children's rights were within the school. For example, free speech, the right to privacy. These things aren't always intuitive for parents, and not everyone knows what their kids' rights are when they go to school. We have our gut feeling, we have the truth the Lord shares with us, and we have the courts on our side. We can be bold in fighting this.
Ask us first.